Like an addiction that you just can't quit or a car wreck that you just can't help stop and watch, the Van Gogh Pikachu promo keeps coming back over and over again. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. You're watching the channel Dr.Applesauce 2. My name's Will. It's another beautiful day here in Texas. Hope you guys know that I love you, God loves you, and that there is an awesome plan for your life. Today, we are going to talk about, yes, I know, the Van Gogh Pikachu promo again. And this thing keeps popping up in the news, and I love to follow this story and see the craziness that is going on with this. I was lucky enough to score one on the second drop and have somebody send me one. So seeing all of this happen is really interesting to me. And we've been seeing talks of the Van Gogh Pikachu promo resurface in the news again because stores in the Netherlands, where the Van Gogh Pikachu promo was initially released in the collaboration with the Van Gogh Museum in Pokemon, which is in the Netherlands, stores in the Netherlands, like local game stores, and speculation of potentially even some larger retail chain stores in the Netherlands, are going to be getting 100 copies of the Van Gogh Pikachu promo in their store sometime mid-February or March. All of this has been confirmed. We talked about this in videos in the past where we go all over those details, talk about how we're looking at seeing anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 potentially cards put into the market and how this could affect things. So that's already been proven. That's already been talked about. But the thing that's really interesting is this card is coming back. It's been proven. Pokemon told us a while back that the remainder of the Van Gogh promos were going to go out to these stores or whatever the case may be. That's all confirmed, taken care of, and we're even seeing in Europe the stores pre-selling these cards for around 100 euros, which is about 40% less than the actual market, and that is causing a market dip in the cards in Europe. So we're seeing that happen over there. We've yet to see any ramifications or any changes to the market of this card here in, America and Canada and stuff like that. But the thing that I find to be incredibly interesting is, one, this card just doesn't seem to go away. This card is like I said, it's like an addiction that you can't kick, or like a car wreck that you just have to stop and watch because it's so crazy and so messy, and you gotta watch and see what happens, because the release of this card, the multiple releases of this card have just been, the ball's been dropped in so many different ways. It's absolutely amazing. And now there are rumors that, I will full disclaimer, have not been 100% confirmed by either Pokemon or the Van Gogh Museum, but are being so heavily reported by multiple reputable art news sources that I had to talk about it. It seems very weird that so many sources are talking about this. There are rumors that the Van Gogh Pokemon promotion and the Pokemon card is coming back to the Van Gogh Museum with heightened security. There's rumors from multiple sources that this card is going to be released again at the Van Gogh Museum. And like I said, this isn't confirmed by Pokemon or Van Gogh Museum yet, but there's so many people talking about it. I wanted to show this to you guys because it's really interesting to me. It's a very interesting card. The releases have been hyped. The next release is going to be hyped. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of craziness and drama that happens when these cards actually hit the stores and potentially hit the Van Gogh Museum. So it's definitely a crazy release that I know a lot of people are looking forward to. And speaking of releases that a lot of people are looking forward to, Paldan Fates comes out here in like 2 or 3 days. That is going to be so much fun. I'm going to have a bunch of sealed product of Paldan Fates well below MSRP available for sale, sealed to people that are in my Patreon, that are my patrons that support the channel. Just a way to provide product to you guys from a source you can trust. So if you want to get in on that, we'll be having releases for every new set, Japanese and English included. Just go join my Patreon. You get to support the channel. You get access to product under MSRP from a source that you can trust. It helps me, it helps you. It's going to be a lot of fun. Paldan Fates is going to be great. We're going to do a bunch of drip live streams for packs at MSRP as well. So we're just going to have a lot of fun this weekend. So speaking of releases that are exciting, Paldan Fates is exciting. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited for Paldan Fates, and let me know if you're excited for this potential new Pikachu thing, or if you're just tired of it. I want to know in the comments below. But here's some of what we're looking at, okay? There are a bunch of sites that are talking about the Van Gogh Pikachu coming back to the Van Gogh Museum. And I understand this has not been confirmed by Pokemon or the Van Gogh Museum. But you gotta look at this. Look at this right here. If you just Google search it, you will pull up such a large number of sites. Look, we have right here Art news. Pikachu card to return to Van Gogh Museum 23 hours ago. The Art Insider, controversial Van Gogh Pikachu card returns to museum 6 hours ago. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, Lifestyle Asia, Hypebeast.com, Artnet.news. The game, so many websites are reporting on these, and it's not like these are just, some dude sitting in his basement with a blog or some random weird white dude sitting in his collection room talking about Pokemon. It's not like it's just those people talking about this. These are legitimate, reputable art sources. They're not TCG sources. They're not sources like PokeBeach that specialize in Pokemon news. They're not sources that specialize in collectible news or investment news. These are art sources. And I find it very interesting that so many of these art sources are actually talking about this, and they're saying a lot of the similar things. And I'm not sure if the Van Gogh Museum is actually going to do this, but if the Van Gogh Museum actually does another release and another wave at the museum, and they've learned from their mistakes, because they shut down the whole entire thing at the Van Gogh Museum because people just went there and completely acted a fool, and there was riots, and people were stupid. So the scalpers went crazy at the Van Gogh Museum, and the Van Gogh Museum, I guess nobody over at Pokemon thought to tell them, hey, this is going to be a hyped release. It's going to get crazy. Maybe you should have security. And anyways, they weren't prepared for that. But if they do this and they re-release it, and now they know what could happen, and they have the appropriate security, and they have the appropriate things set in place, and they brief and train their employees appropriately, it could actually be a really, really, really good thing if they actually do this. Now, to be fair, the Van Gogh Museum did say that the collaboration was over. I think this was back in September, and they have not said anything to the effect that it is going to be open again. You can see right here that this is actually an excerpt from what they were saying. Why is the Pokemon Van Gogh Museum promo card no longer available? The International and the Van Gogh Museum, Pokemon International and the Van Gogh Museum take the safety and security of visitors and staff seriously. A small group of individuals create an undesirable situation, yada, 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 yada. Basically, this is their statement saying that that is not going to be coming back. And they haven't said anything to the contrary of this, but what I find, again, I have to say, what I find to be interesting is we know that the Pikachu promos are getting back to the Netherlands, okay, through different stores. We know that for a fact. And we have people on the inside that have reported and talked to PokeBeach saying that the distributor for Pokemon in the Netherlands has reached out to anywhere from 100 to 200 stores about distributing this promo to those stores for 100 copies a store. So that is pretty good assumption that at least 10,000 to 20,000 copies of this are going to be introduced to the market. That's a pretty decent amount. And something else that's just me kind of looking at things and thinking, in our first video talking about this resurgence of this card, we saw that there were 20,000 or just under 19,000 Van Gogh Pikachus graded with PSA. About 20,000. When you go on the open market, the eBay open market, and you want to look at Van Gogh Pikachu promos that are available, maybe 1 in 10 are raw. Maybe 1 in 10 are raw. I'd say 90% of the Van Gogh Pikachu promos on the market are graded. So if we look at that and we assume, okay, 20,000, let's just say 20,000 have been graded, and that's 90% of the market, which I don't believe to be true. Let's just say it's 50% of the market. Who knows? Let's just say there's 100,000 that were released initially. If there's going to be another 10,000 to 20,000 minimum distributed to local stores in the Netherlands, that is potentially, in theory, that is potentially 10 to 20% of the current stock being injected back into the market, which is a massive number. Now, there's speculation and a few people that have said that larger stores like Media Market and Sure Thing Toys and All Time Toys have potentially also been contacted and may get the promos as well. This would be similar to us here in the States, like GameStops and Best Buys and places like that getting promos, where it's a corporate and they kind of sort of have to follow the appropriate guidelines. And there's another 350 of those stores. So here's what I'm getting at. There's going to be at least 10,000 get distributed into the market, which is a big number. Potentially 20,000. Potentially 50,000. So anywhere from 10 to 50,000 could get introduced back into the market. Either of those numbers is a large number. It's quite a lot that could get put back into the market. Now, if we introduce the Van Gogh Museum opening again with the appropriate procedures, with security. Who knows how many they'll have? Maybe it's part of that. Maybe the Van Gogh Museum is going to get some of that number instead of so many going to so many stores, right? That would be a way for people to legitimately have to go and spend time and wait in line to get their one copy, for collectors to be able to do that, which is a good thing. And here's the reason why I bring this up. Because we know it's going to the Netherlands, and there's so many art news sources talking about it going back to the Van Gogh Museum, which they would probably have their ear to the ground about what's happening in the Van Gogh Museum more than people like us, because they follow art, not necessarily TCG, so they might be able to hear art news faster than we hear Pokemon news. That's my opinion. And again, for the third or fourth or fifth time, we have no confirmation from Van Gogh and Pokemon that this is happening. There's just a lot out there pointing to it coming back to the museum that makes me really wonder, is this going to actually happen? And here's something that I also find really, really interesting. It's not like some wires got crossed somewhere. I guess it's possible. Like, you could say, well, maybe some of these these articles and these sources heard that it's going back to the stores. It's going to go to a bunch of, game stores in the Netherlands. And they assumed that meant it was going to go to the Van Gogh Museum. Well, the interesting thing is this is pretty much what most of the articles say. And just read this real quick. The craze has died down, and the Van Gogh Museum and Pokemon have decided to re-release the card, as well as other merch alongside the Pokemon-themed activities to continue the collaboration. The Pikachu Van Gogh card will also be available in select local stores around the Netherlands, with each stocking around 100 copies. However, these cards can only be given to customers who spent at least 30 euros on Pokemon TCG merchandise, further limiting availability. And of course, the museum store will also have tighter security this time around. This is pretty much what all of these news sources are reporting, is exactly this, that yes, it's going to local stores in the Netherlands, and it's also coming to the Van Gogh Museum. And they have the details knowing that local stores are going to be getting 100 copies, and people have to spend 30 euros on Pokemon product, but it's also coming to the Van Gogh Museum. So that's why I just wanted to talk about this, because it's such a crazy situation. The card came, and it hit, and people went crazy, and I said that it should go down in value because there should be more, and it didn't go down in value. And then a lot of people were like, hey, look at you, you got one thing wrong, blah, 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 blah. And I got it wrong. That's okay. But now we're seeing this happen, and it makes me excited because this should be a $50 card. This should be a $50 card. It should be cheap. It should not be expensive. This should be something that people should easily be able to get their hands on. Right now, it's about a $140 card. I think it's going to end up being around 70, 75 bucks. What do you think? Here's all the information. And again, for the last time, because if I say it 10 times, a few people will actually start hearing and listening to it. There is no confirmation from Pokemon or the Van Gogh Museum that this is actually happening. But there are quite a few reputable art news sources that are reporting on this. And I would go to an art news source and assume that they would know what the Van Gogh Museum is doing before me as a Pokemon source or somebody else that just follows Pokemon. I don't know. That's just my assumption. Again, nothing confirmed, but it is interesting that so many sources are talking about this. So I'd pay attention to see if there is a potential confirmation and about this going actually back to the museum. Even if it doesn't go back to the museum, it's definitely going to be hitting a bunch of stores. So we should find out in 4 or 5 weeks or so how many the stores are actually getting. But I'm going to continue to cover this. Why? Not because I want to beat the Van Gogh Pikachu promo into the ground like a dead horse, because I find the whole situation fascinating, that the release has been so botched. I think this card has been created, and there's a lot more quantity of this card out there than people realize, and there's just a huge demand for it as well. There's people selling it for like 70 bucks too, that I don't know if they're being honest or they're scamming people, so I'm not really showing who they are, but that's also something that's interesting. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. Are you tired of this situation? Do you think it's really, really cool? And what do you think about Paldan Fates? Are you going to jump in on the Patreon so you can get access to product below MSRP? I want to know. Let me know down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, guys. Give me a thumbs up on the video. It's free. And it helps a whole lot. And if you want to stay up to date, you can just subscribe, hit that notification bell. YouTube will actually tell you when I put up new videos. So if you liked this one, my friends, check that one out right there. You'll probably like it a lot too. And like I always say, find somebody to love and serve today. Be the change you want to see in the world. See you next time.